was not me.
Oh, wow.
And
Calling to order the meeting for the Greenway Advisory Committee. Today is August the 21st, 2007. We do have a quorum. And going into old business, AC, you want to talk about the Greenway?
Well, I don't have a whole lot to talk about other than it's not finished. I got with the assistant city administrator this morning, and there's some type of contract on it because of them not finishing on time. They're trying to get some type of extension, I guess, to continue on with the project. They're still working on it, but they're not done yet. So what I did was I rode through the whole Greenway, and I took some pictures so that y'all could see the progress this far, and some of the hurdles that my department is going to have to try to get over, because it's a whole lot of work going to have to happen down there, and I don't know how we're going to do it. But anyway, I'll show you on the presentation. That's the bridge going in from toward the underpass. And all these weeds and stuff you see growing over, all that has to be taken care of and kept up. And you can't, some of it you can't mow. It has to be weed eated, or you have to get a sling blade on it. So anyway, there's the rocks. They're not finished with that. It's going in toward the underpass. And if you look, there's a little finger in there too up there. I got my, so anyway, but there's the creek. It looks really pretty. And I mean, there's going to be so many positives to it, but it is going to be a lot of work. And trash and stuff, when the creek rises and we have a lot of rain, it pulls trash from everywhere. And when this is going to be a major problem. When it rains, that fills up with water and brings a lot of sediment with it. And then when the water subsides, the sediment stays. And all that's going to have to be shoveled out. I mean, on a regular basis. So it's going to be an issue. And we have other issues in there too. You can see that there's that much mud in there. So, you know, you can't leave it like that. It's not safe. It's a safety hazard. People walk through there and slip and fall. That's going to be on us. There's a lot of dirt daubers in there. We'll have to go in and rake those down on a regular basis. That's on the other side. I guess when the water in the creek rises, that's where it brings it all from, and it kind of pools in there. So, okay, and that's moving on out. And if you look at all the green space on both sides, all that has to be mowed, and all the trees have to be cut back. I was really surprised when I think me and John did this. When we rode and looked at it, we were like, wow, this is going to be a major project for us, you know. And there are some pictures in here where you can see some trash and stuff like that. All of this green space, and you see how the trees are growing out already. That's going to have to be cut back on a regular basis, or it's going to overtake the trail. And now all that green space, all that mowing right there, I mean, it's a lot. Look at that. All that has to be mowed. It's all flat green space. They already put hay and seed down. So, and I went by it yesterday. Man, it's growing like crazy. So it's not going to be long. We're going to have to be down in there doing something. I mean, I'd like to wait until it's finished, but we're going to have to start. All that. Look at all that green space. And then they just added a bunch of shrubs, and I don't know if I have them on here or not because they just put them in. But all those have to be watered in probably every day or every other day if it doesn't rain, so that they'll take. And I mean, we don't want them to die. And we don't have. I had to buy a 275-gallon tank to load in the back of a truck. We got to fill it up with water and go down there and and water all of them, because if we don't, in this kind of heat, they'll never make it. I mean, that's a ton of work right there. It really is.
It sure is beautiful, though, AC. I mean, it's such a good addition to our city.
It is. It really is. And I'm happy about it, but I need help.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, and it's pretty long. I mean, you see how far it goes from the library all the way down to the roundabout. That's a good drive. Real good walk. All that green space has to be taken care of.
I think, too, it would be more helpful, and I can't say it would be all the time, so I don't want to overstep that, but that would be a good thing for community groups to come out and help with.
I couldn't agree more, if you can actually get them to participate. That's the thing, because a lot of people say, oh, I'll do it, and then when
And then
it
they
comes
don't.
time,
Yeah.
they're not available.
So I really only know about that, I think it's is it the spring with stormwater, and they go down there.
Yeah, the
So
stream cleanup.
I would like to see more of the civic groups get involved. I mean, this is something for everybody, and it's
Right.
really nice. I'd like to see it stay that way.
I think what you're gonna find is the more people spend along the water's edge as these things develop out, they're gonna be more inclined to demand that there be something done and there be more participation as a result.
I hope so. And this is another issue of mine. Hold on a second, we'll get to it. That bridge.
I did take a walk down there. I was curious about that wood in the middle.
Well, that particle board in the middle is gonna be pulled up when they're
Okay.
done with their construction.
Yeah, that's for protecting that wood.
What's your problem with the bridge?
The wood.
Slippery?
Well, slippery, and, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't even know if it's pressure treated. It's gonna be,
that's
I'm not positive, it could be, but me and John looked at it and we were like, I don't know about this. And, hold on a second, I took some other pictures of it in here. There's some of the trash, we're gonna have to get off in there and get it. Like I said, I'm gonna have to buy probably 4 pairs of hip waders so that we can actually get in there some of that stuff, because, I mean, you can't go in there without, something. And that's growing up through the bottom. So we're gonna have to weed eat that on a regular basis on the bridge. Trash in there. There's a bunch more trash that gets hung in there. And it's not the easy stuff that you can just pick out of there. You gotta, you know what I mean? It shreds when you try to pull it out because it's been wet and it's nasty. More green space. There's a couch. I don't know whose that is, but
There's actually tires right near that couch as well. There's tires near that couch as
is there
well.
tires? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try to get them out of there tomorrow. That tree fell over. And the more rain and stuff we get, the more of that kind of stuff happens. The bridge is nice. I mean, we're gonna have to do maintenance on it on a regular basis.
Can we check with the builder and see what that wood is and
Yes.
what are our options
I would
going
like to.
forward?
Yeah, I've got that.
Like I
now.
said, I could be wrong. It may be pressure treated, but it didn't look like it.
Well, even if it is pressure treated, it'll need to season and then it'll need to be sealed.
Exactly.
So that it doesn't rot.
Hey, AC, go back one slide for me real quick. Those little alcoves, I've noticed there's both concrete alcoves like that, and on the bridge there's alcoves. Is that for benches and trash receptacles?
Benches are gonna be put in them.
Okay.
Yeah, we've already, Kyle picked the benches out already.
Any trash cans going on there as well?
Yeah, we're gonna do, we're gonna do matching benches and trash cans. It'll be similar, so they'll go next to each other.
How wide are those grassy medians along the trail?
It varies. Some of them are just 6 feet wide. Some of them are really wide spaces. So it just depends on where you're at on the trail, but there's a lot of them, So it's gonna be a lot of mowing. That, to take care of that whole thing, that's, what do you think, John? A couple days, all day long, or a couple people all day?
Clear and brush.
Clear and
on
brush
the side.
and mowing and weed eating, at least, I don't even know if 2 guys can do it in a day. And that's gonna be on a weekly basis because the grass doesn't stop growing.
What kind of equipment do you need that you don't have now?
We already have the equipment that we need. It's the manpower, That's a little bit of a concern for me. But I did have an issue with this next slide. That's pretty much unacceptable right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do that right. And look at that. And it's kind of dark, but I stuck my whole hand under there.
Oh, wow.
And as that gets wet and dry and expands and contracts, it's just going to curl up, and get worse. So I'd like to talk to the builder about that. I mean, that's just,
Sloppy.
there's no reason for
They gone
that,
through a punch on that
Yeah, that's subpar workmanship.
yeah.
and it was accepted already?
You mean the bid?
No, on the construction post.
No, it's not. No,
post-construction.
it's not.
Will there
completed.
will there be a punch list when it is complete so you can walk
yeah.
through to make sure?
Well, we'll meet with the builders again. I don't know if Kyle Peters usually sets those meetings up. But I haven't gotten an alert for those, but when I do, this is definitely gonna be an issue that's brought up. I have the pictures on my phone. He'll see them.
Okay.
Trash there, and I think that's from when the creek gets up too high and it just brings it in and sets it down, and then it recedes, and then it's there. And this from the road, we took that picture. They're not done with that part yet, so we drove down that trail. They still have to pave that, and that's still a good chunk that's left that needs to be paved.
Yes.
And I'm not sure what that is, but it was hung up in the trees, so I took a picture of it. There's some other stuff. And weed eating and mowing is only part of it. Getting all that trash out of there's the whole other thing. So there's something. There's a chair and some stuff. And that's it. But and there's some things have changed since then. They did put shrubs in. That's about 100 yards worth of shrubs, ain't it, John?
It's a good amount.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ton, and that's going to have to be watered every day or every other day if it doesn't rain, you know. So that's a big deal, and it's not even done yet. So it's going to be a lot of manpower. I mean, I think it's wonderful, and I love it. As a city parks department head, it's great, but it's a lot of work. So.
AC, have y'all reached out to Laverne High School? I know they recently sent out a request looking to partner with businesses, and I've talked to them. I know they're open for the city as well, to do some of their community service with the Hope Grants.
Now the Vicki Walker reached out to me, and we have the Laverne High School softball team doing a lot of stuff for us. They're going to work at Old Timers Festival, and we have them lined up to do something else. But as far as just regular, I mean, what other groups from the high school?
Well, this would be for any of them that's applying for that scholarship. They have to do so much community service. So
I'll tell you what, that would be great. And you know, like the stormwater does the stream cleanup, we could do a Greenway cleanup on a monthly basis if we had to, because it's going to be that way. And we can get to a lot of it, but there's going to be, if it rains a lot, that's going to be the times that it's hard for us to do all of it.
I'll get you Miss Dowling's information. You can reach out to her.
Who?
Miss Dowling.
Okay, at Laverne High.
At Laverne High School, she's the one who's it's community connections, what they're trying to build.
Okay.
So they would be interested in that, and then
Give me
also
their information, and I'll see if they're interested in helping out with that. I'd really like for this project to get finished so we can have a grand opening,
Right.
and then move forward there. But we're going to have to start working on it now.
also the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts would be another group that you could partner with.
Definitely.
But think about it, just coordinating all that and getting it done is a lot of work too. So, but you know, we're going to do what we can. We always do. I mean, we keep getting stuff added, which I'm okay with, but just got to have people to help do it.
Right.
As far as that, the under trail, where the trail goes under the bridge, there are other cities that have that same type of construction. Perhaps we can check with them and see how they do their maintenance.
Right.
One thing that occurs to me that might help is, water put it there, and perhaps water can help take it away. And if we got a fire truck, pumper or something, and use water to blow it out from the upstream side to the downstream side, and then just let the normal
That's an idea.
processes move it on.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, that would certainly get it out of there quicker than us shoveling it.
Yeah.
you know.
I don't know what the feasibility of all that is, but
Well,
it
fire
just seems
department's
to-
always willing to help with stuff. I think it's a matter of getting that far back in there with a truck. I mean, you can run the hose to it, but
Yeah, I don't know what,
Yeah.
what the
we'd have to
logistics
see,
there are.
we'll see what the logistics are on that.
You'd have to pull them in back here to the very back side and spray
Right.
from there.
Not only you'd have to spray it out, you'd have to spray it off to the sides so that
Right.
it didn't just fall back in there because.
Right, you'd
it's on a
have to
little
get it,
slope.
you'd have to take it from the upstream side all the way down and then out, so,
Yeah.
so that any other water coming through is, taking
Yeah.
care of it. Seems like when they constructed it, there was a shelf and a lower area that was to carry the water into normal flow and light events, and then it would only get up on the shelf when it was heavy, and so it might not silt up as fast
Yeah.
if you keep that shelf blown out or
Right.
cleaned out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I don't know
that'd
how
certainly
long
be
it's
helpful to
been.
us.
I suspect that picture shows what it looks like, and it was, 15 years old, something like that? And it's probably never been cleaned out in there, so that's what it looks like after 15 years, but if you're doing it every year, couple of years, it might not be as bad.
Yeah.
I think you got your work for this first time around.
Any more questions for AC on the Greenway?
Something I'd like to see you try, because I'm a firm believer in if you don't ask, the answer will always be no. Next year's budget is waiting way too long to see if you can get additional help. I'd like to see you get a proposal together and bring it before the alderman and the mayor within the next month to see if they can go ahead and at least get you 1 to 2 more people. I'm hearing that you probably need 4 or more.
Oh, yeah.
But at least if we could get half of that funded.
Right.
And look at revising the budget, because I can't imagine that our citizens wouldn't see the importance of taking care of this investment.
Yep. Okay, I'll work on that.
It might help if it's a seasonal employment.
Well, you see, this will be year-round, though, because the Greenway will be open year-round.
Yeah, but
So not only will it need to be taken care of with grass and everything else, you got to look at icing. When we ice over, you got to make sure it stays salted. So you're going to need the employees that are going to be able to take care of it and keep it safe for our citizens. And, you know, I can't imagine that our town would not back you and say that how important it is, because this is such a good addition to our community. So and you definitely need the help,
Oh,
obviously.
yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, we're short now.
Yes, sir.
And once all this stuff is open and gets going, it's going to be coming in and going, okay, what gets neglected today?
Well, from a liability standpoint, our city doesn't need to be liable for someone getting hurt because you didn't have enough employees to take care of it. So, I mean, that's a need that really needs to go and be asked for. And we have great leaders here that I'm sure they'll find some money somewhere.
Any more questions?
Well, I know that they are still working down near the roundabout, but I would like to see if we could talk to the people that are in charge of it right now in the process, and when they're done at the end of the day or over the weekend, if they could put some type of barrier up down by the roundabout. 2 different times there have been vehicles. Either they've blocked it where the roundabout is to go fishing. So if you were walking the Greenway, you got to go around a car now. And then the other instance was apparently someone had a flat and they decided to just come off of the main road and go down through the Greenway. And there was a really, really big gash down through what they've just put down. And so, and I understand emergencies happen, but you previously weren't able to get through there, so there clearly would have been another alternative had that not been open. And I'd really like to see, even after it's finished, I'm sure we'll have some kind of barrier up there, but while they're still working on it, if they could put something temporary up at the end of the day or on the weekends to keep these cars out of there. It's not meant for cars, it's meant for foot traffic.
Well, I'll have to look and see, check and see with them if that's part of the grant. I don't know if it is or not, but we'll put bollards in ourselves like we did over at Brookside. And they'll be breakaway bollards so that we can lay them down and drive in if we need to. But they'll be up all the time unless we're using them.
Well, that's for the end of the project, but I think what she's talking about is
Right now,
currently
can
while
they
they're still
put something
constructing.
up, even if it's just barrels?
And even if they can't, is it possible to reach out to Garland on a Friday if we know they're not working on a Saturday and say, hey, can you go ahead and just block this off for us so that it doesn't impede that construction?
Well, I'll call him tomorrow and see if he can take some barrels down there, and we'll put them in place. And if they need to move them, they can move them.
Right.
But for the most part, they'll, it'll be a deterrent anyway.
Yeah, I just hate that they're in the process of trying to make this to the end.
Right.
And, over the weekend or in the evenings, you have vehicles coming through there and messing up what we need to be there.
Right.
So.
Yeah, well, I'll get with him tomorrow. We'll get some barrels down there. Worst case scenario, John, we got some cones, don't we? We'll take those down there, but I'm sure Garland's got some barrels.
AC, has there been any more, have you looked any more into deer cameras out there for people who dump trash?
No, I have not. And I'll have to have quite a few of those, I would imagine. We'll have to put them in strategic points. We'll have to ride and kind of look and see where those need to go, but I'll check on those tomorrow. Deer cameras, huh?
Yes, that's what we talked about.
Yeah, they go on the trees, right? So that
yes.
They're camouflage. We'll have to put them up high enough so somebody doesn't steal them.
And they're usually motion activated, so someone is out there doing it. That's when it will take a picture. It won't be continuous.
Yeah.
And they'll run.
Yeah, okay.
Batteries will run for 6 months, 8 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll-
Yeah.
Well, that'd be
That's a good
good, but
point.
that's the thing too. If we put them on trees, that will obviously have to get camouflage. Hopefully nobody will see them. But they need to be down to where
They,
And
u-
take pictures of people.
they usually come camouflage.
Okay.
Or-
Well, I'll
or
tell you
A
what.
little bit of spray paint.
When you're in the process of setting them up, Jason and I will come around and we'll pretend to do bad things so you can see if we need to reposition them.
Okay.
We want to make sure it's all covered. I mean, I want to make it safe for the people that are going to be using it, and I want to make it not so happy if you're planning to tear it up.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Any more questions for AC on the Greenway?
Is there any kind of grading in before the bridge to make sure that we can stop trash before, like maybe every so often, where you could have the grading put in the water so that it catches the trash? So you have some spots where you just clean up regularly?
You mean something that filters it before
Yes,
it
sir.
gets? We don't have anything like that in place yet, and I don't know if they're gonna put anything like that up, but.
I mean, it might be a worthwhile investment just to have specific areas that you go and it would catch the
the
trash and
trouble
the water would still go
And
through.
that's the thing, we're not sure what the exact trouble spots are gonna be yet, but when we do, that's not a bad idea to put something up so that it stops it before it runs across the trail. Yeah, and we'll look at that, because it's easy to pick it out of there if it's all gathered right there.
Yeah, if it's in one spot, then you've got that one to clean up and.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And maybe some of the other places that have the bridges like we do that you were discussing earlier, maybe they have found a way to stop all that mud and stuff from getting down. Maybe it's something really easy that we hadn't thought of yet.
Smyrna's Greenway goes under the highway, so you might reach out to
I
Smyrna.
really think when you get that shelf cut out, that the normal water flow will keep it knocked out. And then when it gets high, you come in after and it's just a little, slick that you gotta blow it off, and you can blow it right back down into the bottom. You just stay on it,
Hopefully.
But yeah, but that looked to be like, 15 years of buildup there, so it's pretty, it's pretty substantial, so.
Yeah, it is.
I was able to take a walk down there about a month or so ago, and it's really nice. It's just really beautiful.
It is.
Down there. It's really hot.
Yeah.
And it's a long walk.
It is.
But it's very nice.
But it is nice, and I'm really proud and happy that we have it, so.
You can bike it, right?
Yes.
Bicycle, that's what I thought.
Yes. So I went down there last week before last, and there were bikers on it when we were walking through.
Oh, that's great. I love to see people using
It's
it.
getting a lot of use, even though it's not totally finished yet, so.
Great.
Any more questions for AC on the Greenway?
I'm good.
Okay. For new business, I only have one thing. I just wanted to let everybody here know. This passed last month's Board of Mayor and Aldermen, but the engineering on the Stones River water line, they are also going to be looking at going down the old trail that would go all the way down to Hurricane Creek, the boat ramp, and so that would essentially be phase 2. That's one of the two options that's being reviewed for the engineer.
Okay.
So, so that may be phase 2, may not be. It just depends. It's either they're gonna have to close it down to one lane and go through the road, or if they do this, they can leave the road alone and just go down that old boat trail.
And just do a trail as a part of
Yes.
that construction. Outstanding.
That would be excellent.
Does anybody else have anything for new business?
Yes. I just have questions. We've all been here quite a bit, and what I have not seen are these three. I think I can't see them.
Edward was here in May, I know, and he
So
did
we have
communicate.
Edward,
that
and then
he
we
wouldn't
have
be here.
Robert, and then we have, I think it's Doug. And I was pretty sure that we, quite a while back, had something in place that if you hadn't come to so many meetings in X amount of time, that you could potentially look for new people to sit in these seats. And it's generally just us. And I would like to see more people sit here that want to be here, that have a voice and are excited about the Greenway process. So,
Well, what was passed, and this was 2014, I believe, AC, was where if people hadn't showed up within 2 meetings or 2 months, there could be a recommendation by this board to the mayor, to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to remove, whoever the individuals are. That's part of the recommendation, and then the board would vote as a group to remove those people, and then if they were removed, then of course new applications would be accepted.
okay. Well, I know you said this gentleman's been here in May, and I think I might remember him. Forgive me, just got back from vacation. So, with your permission, sir, I'd like to make a motion that we remove Robert Lee, and I believe his name is say that to me, Doug Smith.
Okay, so I have a motion to remove Robert Lee and Doug Smith. Would need a second. Well,
I'll second for, just to get it to discussion.
okay.
I'd like to amend that motion to have someone contact them and discuss, whether they want to be off and discuss attendance. Also, a second amendment to, as a process for our meetings, that reminders be sent a few days in advance and not the day of.
Well,
I mean, I
that was an
received it.
oversight on my administrative assistant's part. Since we don't work on Fridays, and we have not been having regular, Greenway meetings.
So if it could be sent on the Thursday
Oh, yeah,
before,
and
that'd be fine.
it will be from now on.
And
makes
AC and I
it
discussed
Yeah, and
that.
I've already addressed it, so it will be.
I do know that there was an outreach to Mr. Lee. They were able to get in touch with him after several attempts, as there was concern as to whether he still lived in the city or not. And he was informed of the dates for the meeting.
I just wanted to make sure that this is not happening around somebody and it's happening, schedules are what they are. Today was an unusual day, to say the least. If anybody that was on the roads at certain times, it was pretty rough. But I just wanted to make sure there was just some discussion and it wasn't done without some input from those folks.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Is that with the amendments?
Yes.
Okay. Aye.
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 Okay, so that recommendation I'll let Bruce know about. Any other business?
And also, today is the deadline, so this will probably go on the next agenda. So,
Okay. Okay.
That would give us plenty of time to contact them.
yeah.
Yeah, because I would like to see, if somebody wanted to stay on the, and participate, certainly, that's.
Absolutely, absolutely. We want
Yeah.
input.
I think participation's the big thing.
Oh, yes, I think so too.
Well, we'll try to get another meeting set for next month.
Yes,
So, and I think we should meet monthly until this is finished.
yes.
I know we used to meet every 3 months, but right now here at the end where we're getting close, we'll go ahead and schedule every meeting right after the Parks Advisory.
Thank you. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll call this meeting adjourned.